How Pearl Button Was Kidnapped by Katherine Mansfield. Pearl Button swung on the little gate in front of the house of boxes. It was the early afternoon of a sunshiny day, with little winds playing hide-and-seek in it. They blew Pearl Button's pinafore frill into her mouth, and they blew the street dust all over the house of boxes. Pearl watched it like a cloud, like when Mother peppered her fish and the top of the pepper pot came off. She swung on the little gate, all alone, and she sang a small song. Two big women came walking down the street. One was dressed in red, and the other was dressed in yellow and green. They had pink handkerchiefs over their heads, and both of them carried a big flax basket of ferns. They had no shoes and stockings on, and they came walking along slowly, because they were so fat, and talking to each other, and always smiling. Pearl stopped swinging, and when they saw her, they stopped walking. They looked and looked at her, and then they talked to each other, waving their arms and clapping their hands together. Pearl began to laugh. The two women came up to her, keeping close to the hedge, and looking in a frightened way towards the house of boxes. "Hello, little girl," said one. Pearl said, "Hello." "You all alone by yourself?" Pearl nodded. "Where's your mother?" "In the kitchen, ironing because it's Tuesday." The women smiled at her, and Pearl smiled back. "Oh," she said, "haven't you got very white teeth indeed? Do it again." The dark women laughed, and again they talked to each other with funny words and wavings of the hands. "What's your name?" they asked her. "Pearl Button." "You come in with us, Pearl Button. We've got beautiful things to show you," whispered one of the women. So Pearl got down from the gate, and she slipped out into the road, and she walked between the two dark women down the windy road, taking little running steps to keep up, and wondering what they had in their house of boxes. They walked a long way. "You tired?" asked one of the women, bending down to Pearl. Pearl shook her head. They walked much further. "You not tired?" asked the other woman. And Pearl shook her head again, but tears shook from her eyes at the same time, and her lips trembled. One of the women gave over her flax basket of ferns, and caught Pearl Button up in her arms, and walked with Pearl Button's head.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?